Comply. Sit, stay still, hold your place. Be the good pup. That's how you train a house dog. Tame, predictable, broken by their masters. But out here, where strength rules who eats and who serves, there are no leashes. You're either the wolf or you're the herd. Machiavelli would nod in approval. Submission looks safe, but it's the waiting room of insignificance. The wolf never begs. He watches, then strikes without warning and never lowers his gaze. So ask yourself, will you keep lining up for scraps from those who taught you to obey? Or will you shatter the fence and reveal the beast lurking beneath your silence? Friends, let's cut the crap. The world doesn't tip its hat to the tame. It doesn't matter if you hustle from dawn to dusk or settle for every crumb tossed your way. No one's cheering your compliance. In the cruel chess match of power, the house pets, submissive, obedient, waiting on handouts, are the first to be eaten alive. You've got two choices. You're either predator or prey. If you don't bare your teeth, you'll be devoured, and nobody's going to shed a tear. Here's the hard truth. While you sit waiting for validation, others are out taking what they want. The system wasn't built to shield you. It was built to exploit you. How much longer will you fall for effort is enough? Grinding without strategy is a hamster wheel. You sweat, but you stay stuck. The world worships those who break the rules with intent, because deep down the game only serves those who know how to bend it. Imagine slogging years through the corporate maze, ticking every box, following every instruction, then watching someone bolder, less qualified, snag the promotion. Why? Because the world rewards action over patience. That's the brutal lesson you're too polite to learn. Patience without aggression is just another defeat. And here's what they don't want you to know. The system needs you frozen, afraid to move, eyes fixed on your feet, petrified of stepping out of line. Meanwhile, the wolves out there craft their own arenas, write their own rules, build empires from nothing. Reflect. How often have you felt used or overlooked? How many times have peers sprinted ahead while you stayed shackled? That's by design. The system keeps the gears turning and you're just one of them. You think you're safe in your corner, but that security is a facade, a comforting lie. What happens when you're no longer useful and they toss you aside? You lose everything you thought was guaranteed. Only then will you realize while you were settling in, the wolf was feasting on your spoils. They'd rather you stay terrified, looking over your shoulder, fearful of missteps, because a compliant dog is easy to control. Meanwhile, wolves dominate landscapes in silence. And here's the bitterest pill. The stability you chase doesn't exist. The secure job can vanish overnight. The mortgage can tank. The savings can evaporate in a crash. Everything you deem rocks is a bet on chaos. While you hedge your bets, wolves are seizing tomorrow. Picture yourself in the wild, damp earth underfoot, your master's heel at your back, panting for scraps. From the mist, the wolf surveys, calculating, patient, unbound by permission. You're just a fading shadow. Which path will you choose? The wolf or the lamb? It's not just posture, it's mindset. The wolf knows nothing's free. He hunts, he fights, he risks. The dog scourges for scraps, convinced that begging is safer than breaking free. But safety is a gilded cage. The wolf welcomes chaos, because that's where true power lives. And here's the hardest truth. Every second you delay gives the wolves more time to claim what could have been yours. The wolf doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He engineers them. If you want to survive, you must learn to do the same. Most people misunderstand the wolf. He's not cruel. He's strategic. He's fierce because he knows kindness without backbone gets you eaten. He balances mercy with ferocity. He doesn't steal without purpose. But he won't let anyone take from him. Independent, resilient, self-made. If you want to grow, you must adopt that creed. Let me tell you what nobody admits. The system hates strong, free thinkers. It craves compliant workers trapped in routine, terrified of tomorrow. Its invisible bars go unnoticed. Yet they suffocate you. You believe you're free. But that illusion is the ultimate control. Freedom isn't granted, it's seized. Consider the greatest risk, doing nothing. So many dream of launching their own ventures but never take the leap. The system taught you that risk is shameful, failure is a scarlet letter, and safety lies in following the script. The cruel truth. The biggest failure is never trying. They want you to fear falling. Why? Because the untested never threaten the status quo. They fear your growth, because independence undercuts their power. Imagine a company pouring millions into your training only to have you quit and conquer on your terms. Nightmare fuel for the system. So, it grooms you to depend, settle, and accept mediocrity. Here's the biggest secret. True power equals independence. When you answer to no one, you're impervious to pressure. You forge your own rules. You build your reality. That terrifies them. Look at history. Catherine the Great didn't wait for inheritance. She grabbed the throne. Harriet Tubman didn't beg for freedom. She risked everything to snatch it. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, none followed the manual. They shattered it. They didn't wait for approval. They demanded it. They all failed spectacularly. Jobs was kicked out of his own company. Musk teetered on bankruptcy. Oprah battled prejudice and poverty. Yet failure was fuel, not a tomb. That's your model. See failure as feedback. These titans constructed their own ecosystems, support networks, audacious strategies, unbreakable resolve. They were wolves among sheep, and that's what you must become. The fatal flaw of domestic dogs. They mistake comfort for freedom. They believe safety equals happiness, but comfort is a trap that erodes your will. Choosing to live in someone else's shadow is choosing insignificance. Your energy, passion, identity sacrificed for conformity. You become replaceable. The system sells you smallness as safety, but smallness kills. Those destined to blaze cannot languish in the dark. The comfort you cling to, it weakens you, fosters dependence, erases you. True comfort is self-reliance, building something no one can steal. The wolf knows himself and needs no validation. Being a wolf doesn't mean being heartless. It means being authentic, resilient, visionary. It means accepting that the world gives nothing and you have the power to create everything. It means persevering when the path is brutal because genuine comfort lies beyond adversity. Now look yourself in the eye. Which road will you travel? Submission, mediocrity, and regrets? Or will you stand as the wolf, stake it all, and seize your freedom? The world doesn't applaud the meek, it exalts the bold. Or perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe the safe, obedient life really is the dream. Maybe you prefer the comfortable lie. Who can say? All I know is this. Once you start questioning the system, you become unstoppable. Until next time, remember, wolves win. What's your first move to shed the domesticated dog and embrace your inner wolf? Don't wait for tomorrow or permission. Comment with the action you'll take right now. Tag someone who needs this challenge and share this message to show you're done fading away. The wolf strikes today, and so should you. You've already peered over the edge of that fence. You've tasted the copper tang of fear and felt the intoxicating rush that follows when you decide to cross it anyway. Now you stand at a crossroads. To the left lies the familiar pasture, comfortable, safe, predictable. To the right, an untamed wilderness, dark, dangerous, but ripe with opportunity. The domesticated pup in you hesitates, ears pinned, eyes wide, trembling at the unknown. The wolf within snarls, eager to break free, convinced that each step forward is another scrap on the table of survival. Machiavelli taught that fortune favors the bold. He understood that shifting the balance of power requires you to rewrite the rules while others still cling to theirs. So which voice will you obey? The one that begs for mercy, or the one that demands your prey? Every morning you convene a silent council inside your skull. Doubt speaks in a timid whisper. Stay safe here where failure is less visible. Ambition roars like thunder. Move now, or be trampled by someone who will. You could spend years negotiating with yourself, drafting endless pro-con lists, hoping for divine clarity. But Machiavelli warned against indecision. Hesitancy is a dagger pointed at your own throat. Every second you stall, another predator tears into the carcass of your potential. Action. Even brutal, imperfect action is the only antidote to stagnation. The wolf doesn't bargain for a killing stroke. He delivers it. You think independence means going it alone. In reality, the most ruthless wolves forge alliances. Tribes bound by shared hunger, not loyalty to comfort. Begin by mapping your territory. Who holds influence in your circles? Which connections can be leveraged for your ascent? Reach out not with flattering subservience, but with strategic reciprocity. Offer value they crave. A wolf offers protection, resources, intelligence. When those you align with rely on you, your sphere of power expands. This network becomes your pride, each member pledged to strengthen the others. Machiavelli would remind you that a prince's power is measured by the loyalty he commands, not by the titles he inherits. But alliances can bite back if mishandled. Deception is a wolf's art. Reveal only as much as necessary. Conceal your full strength until revealing it maximizes the impact. Never lay all your teeth bare at once. Let opponents underestimate you. Permit them to misread your intentions while you sow seeds of disruption in their ranks. When the time comes, you strike not out of malice, but precision, taking exactly what secures your dominion and leaving your adversaries scrambling in the aftermath. Transformation demands ritual. Wolves mark territory. You must mark your intentions. Craft a daily regimen that cements your predator's mentality. Silence the phone for an hour at dawn. Meditate on your goals with ferocity. Confront a fear each day, however small. Journal not about emotions, but about calculated moves. Every meeting you'll request, every skill you'll master, every boundary you'll dismantle. Fill your bloodstream with purpose until hesitation turns to revulsion. You're not just rewriting your identity, you're forging it in the crucible of relentless discipline. Fear will stalk you like a shadow, but you can turn it into fuel. When anxiety tightens your chest, lean into it. Let it remind you that stakes exist. Higher stakes sharpen the claws. Celebrate each failure as proof you dared greatly, and each victory as confirmation you're on the path to supremacy. The domesticated dog cowers from mistakes. The wolf revels in them, knowing every scar tells a story of survival. Your environment will resist. Colleagues, friends, even family will pull you back toward the comfortable rut. They'll label your growth unnecessary, your ambition obsessive, your standards unrealistic. That's the sound of the herd defending its perimeter. You must learn to burn bridges behind you, to pivot without apology when someone tries to leash you again. Every tie that demands your compliance is a chain. Sever it without regret. True autonomy lies in mastering resources, and that extends beyond finances. Cultivate information. Read voraciously. Listen attentively to conversations not meant for you. Exploit gaps in knowledge within your sector. Position yourself at the nexus of valuable insight so that others must come to you when they need an edge. A wolf's howl echoes across the forest, drawing attention. Your reputation as an authority will magnetize opportunity. As your hunger grows, sharpen your strike. Identify the one arena where your impact will be most lethal. A niche your competitors ignore or dismiss. Double down. Invest time, capital, relationships into dominating that sphere until your name becomes synonymous with excellence in that field. Others will follow your scent, eager to associate or ally, while rivals retreat into the shadows, unwilling to match your ferocity. Still, power without purpose is a hollow prize. Define your legacy. What will you build that outlasts you? A startup that reshapes an industry. A movement that rewrites social norms. A body of work so influential it compels future generations to stand on your shoulders. Machiavelli didn't romanticize virtue. He celebrated effectiveness. Yet he acknowledged that those who build systems are remembered as architects of history, not as footnotes. Every wolf knows rest is as essential as the hunt. Guard your vitality. Schedule periods of genuine disengagement. No screens, no obligations, where you reconnect with your core instincts. Raw strength, unfiltered vision, untamed creativity. These retreats are interludes that recharge your batteries. So when you return, you strike with renewed intensity. Finally, cement your transformation by mentoring another aspiring wolf. Teaching refines your mastery and extends your influence. Offer them the lessons you learned in the darkest hours. The times you stood alone facing collapse. Where you once hesitated, let them see how you charged. Where you once stumbled, let them learn to leap. In forging more wolves, you ensure the forest remains ruled by the bold, not the broken. This isn't a pep talk or a passing rallying cry. It's Machiavellian doctrine applied to the sinew of your daily existence. Every decision, interaction, and sacrifice must serve your sovereign will. Maintain that clarity and the world will bend or break at your feet. So rise now. Feel the muscles in your back coil, the blood in your veins thrum with anticipation. Turn your gaze toward the horizon you once feared. That wilderness is your dominion waiting to be claimed. Do not apologize for carving your niche. Do not shrink from the responsibilities of a predator. Make your move. The wolf within demands it, and the world will respect it. Now you've drawn your blade and claimed your ground, but the game is far from over. In every victory lies the seed of new threats, and every ally can become a rival. A prince who rests on yesterday's conquests soon finds his palace overrun. So listen closely. The path of power demands perpetual vigilance, relentless adaptation, and an appetite for controlled ruthlessness. First, cultivate the art of unpredictable benevolence. Generosity, when meted out without warning, disarms suspicion and ensnares loyalty. A wolf that feeds the pack one day, only to withdraw rations the next, keeps every member in thrall, uncertain whether their worth today will translate to sustenance tomorrow. Benevolence should feel like a gift, but sting like a tax when revoked. In this way, you bind subordinates not by genuine affection, which is fleeting, but by gratitude tainted with fear. Second, master the currency of information. Knowledge is the invisible blade that severs alliances at a distance. Learn the private ambitions of those around you, their regrets, their secret debts. Compile doses in your mind, cataloging vulnerabilities and desires. Then deploy these truths sparingly. Hint at your insight with a question. Let them squirm under your gaze, uncertain how much you know. When the moment is right, release a carefully chosen whisper that shifts the balance. Promote one behind another's back. Reveal a scandal at the precise hour or let a rumor germinate into paranoia. Your opponents will stumble over their own doubts, unsure whether to flee or fight. Third, embrace the necessity of the sacrificial pawn. In every chess match, a single pawn sacrificed can open a queen's path. Identify the person whose downfall will terrify the rest into obedience. Perhaps a trusted lieutenant or a celebrated champion. Remove them swiftly, publicly, but without violence that might provoke sympathy. A quiet exile, a reassignment, a sudden accusation of disloyalty. These measures demonstrate your reach and deter would-be challengers. Remember, cruelty is only disastrous when unnecessary or without purpose. When wielded as a precise instrument, it becomes respect compelling. Fourth, manipulate the mirror of public perception. Power is as much performance as policy. Cultivate an image that commands awe. Dress in austere splendor. Speak in measured tones. Let your courtiers murmur of your perfection. Yet behind the facade, remain inscrutable. Let others project their hopes and fears onto you, uncertain whether you're benevolent savior or merciless tyrant. The less you reveal, the more they invest in your myth, and myths are harder to dismantle than scandals. Fifth, strike alliances with those you can sacrifice most easily. True friends are liabilities. Trusted confidants become potential betrayers. Instead, form partnerships based on temporary convergence of interests. Celebrate these alliances lavishly. Trophies, feasts, honors so that your partner feels valued. Then at the apex of your cooperation, relinquish leverage or public submission. Once their usefulness wanes, show them the exit with the same courtesy you would show a guest past his welcome. In all cases, maintain the illusion of camaraderie until the decisive moment. Sixth, never underestimate the power of ritual humiliation. To break an opponent's spine, expose them to public doubt, stage a debate you've already won, confront their most cherished principle with a contradictory display of your own mastery, or interrupt them at a moment of triumph. The sting of humiliation imprints itself on the psyche more keenly than any blade, ensuring that every future gesture toward defiance is weighed against the memory of that fall. Seventh, guard your conscience in secrecy. Machiavelli counseled that a ruler must appear virtuous while acting otherwise. Hold your moral compromises close to the chest. Bury them beneath layers of plausible deniability. Let your sympathetic words be heard and your secret deeds remain unseen. In private, Refine your ethics into a tool. Guilt can be weaponized, remorse can be simulated, and virtue can be worn as armor. Your subjects need a hero to worship, even if that hero orders the crossbows at dawn. 8th, exploit the rhythm of crisis. When stability feels eternal, bold action feels reckless. But when fear grips the masses, economic downturn, military threat, scandal, people crave leadership more than they crave comfort. Step into the breach with decisive reforms. Dismantle institutions that threaten your ascent. Reassign key offices under the guise of emergency, or rally fervor with a common enemy. Crisis is the stage upon which the strongest dramas are enacted, and you must both write the script and cast the actors. Finally, remember that the wolf's greatest skill is regeneration. True power survives defeat. When you suffer a setback, an ally's betrayal, a policy's failure, a miscalculation, do not retreat into shame. Instead, reappear in a new guise. Humble negotiator, repentant visionary, or wounded survivor. Adapt your strategy to the altered landscape. Learn from the wounds you bear, and let your enemies grow complacent at your apparent weakness. Then, in due time, unmask your recovery as inevitable triumph. This is the Machiavellian way, a dance of shadows and steel, where kindness is feigned, cruelty calculated, and ambition insatiable. You are no mere occupant of power's stage. You are its playwright, director, and lead actor. Let every act, every line, every gesture serve your grand design. And know that as long as you remember these principles, no throne is beyond reach, no fortress too formidable, and no rival too formidable to fall beneath your fangs.